All right, the race around the world is back on. Phil Keoghan, host of The Amazing Race, joining us to chat about the latest season of the reality show. Hey, Phil.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going very well. Nice to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So I'm told that you're gonna give us a spoiler. Who wins?
Yeah, well, I've decided that I'm just going to tell you who wins, and that's because I understand you're incredibly busy.
Yeah.
And haven't got time to watch the whole season. I wish I'd realized that before we cut all the shows and created all this drama and hype and suspense and everything, because it would have saved me having to put the whole show together. But yeah, I've just decided that probably best if I just tell you who won.
All right, that works. Hey, you guys started it by having something called a fast forward, right?
Well, this particular season we have a new element because we have two express passes that we're giving away. So the team that actually wins this first leg of the race will end up getting two express passes, one for themselves and one for another team. So that's a big game changer. Something that we've never incorporated before.
I was just going to say, after so many seasons on the air, I mean, you guys, you're adding twists to the competition, which always makes it more exciting. So is that one of the big highlights then this year? Are there any other changes?
Yeah, we do add a few little tweaks, but to be honest with you, we have been very careful not to tweak too much because the show works the way it is, and so we don't want to mess with the format or introduce too many new elements. And quite frankly, we never really have needed to do that because the places that we go to, the new places that we go to, offer that, I guess, those surprises, those new elements that you want every season. So we have to change. We really don't have to mess with the format that much because we've got new cast of characters, we've got new destinations that we go to with new challenges, and that's ultimately what keeps it fresh.
Yeah, now you mentioned the cast of characters, so I've got to ask, you've been doing the show for so long, do you size them up before the race even starts? Like, do you make predictions in your mind and think, who's going to be good teams and who will do well?
Yeah, you can't help it. You can't help but think, this team's going to do really well, and I really love to see this team do well. And what really does surprise me is that as much as I go into it with preconceived ideas and having met them in the casting process and watched their tapes and heard their testimonials, I am really not good at predicting who's going to be there at the end. I'm always surprised, and I think that's part of why the show works. It's very strong teams. A lot of times will get knocked out early, and you wonder, well, how could this happen? They're on paper, they look like they should completely wallop everybody, but they don't.
So who should we be watching for this season then? I mean, who surprised you?
There isn't a team that you shouldn't be watching for. I mean, honestly, you're going into this. There isn't a team that you shouldn't be watching for. Country singers, a couple from Alabama with Chuck, who's got a mullet that should be in the Guinness Book of World Records, some roller derby moms, some ex-professional hockey players, a newlywed couple who are very, very fit, some OBGYNs from Chicago, and twin brothers, best friends, some internet sensations, some real athletes, firefighters. There is not a team starting out that you shouldn't be watching out for. And, right out of the gate, you're going to see incredible competition and lots of surprises. So, yeah, I think just go into it with open eyes and make your own assessment, because it's going to be hard for you to tell straight up who's going to do well.
We've got to get back to the music. I'm going to try getting the winner out of Phil when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More with Phil Keoghan on The Amazing Race right after this. I tried. Jeremy Bradley here, back chatting with Phil Keoghan, host of The Amazing Race. In the last segment I said I'm going to get the winner out of him, but he still won't tell me. Now, we always get a lot of questions, though, from listeners about the show, so if we can just get to a few of those right now really quickly. One of them is, how do you guys pick the locations, and do you ever get in trouble for converging on a region, or do you need to get permission first, is one of the questions.
Yeah, we always have to get permission. In the beginning, when we first started the show over 10 years ago, we had to, sort of reach out to say, look, could we come to your country? Could we do something in your country? We've got this show. The show wasn't, known in the beginning, obviously, so we had to explain to people what it was we were going to do. The good news about having been on for as long as we have now is that countries are coming to us. Tourism organizations from around the world are coming to us and saying, we'd love to host you, we want to show off our country to you. So they help to facilitate us coming to them. So we are picking now, and we're in a position where we are, reviewing opportunity in a different way from the
Have any of them said no in the past, though? No, we don't want you guys coming here.
No, nobody said no. I mean, we've had to say no to certain people just because we can't get to every place. But no, people, once they see what the show is about and they see the benefit of the show screening in America and then screening in over 100 countries around the world, and the fact that the show does accentuate positive aspects of different places, there's been no no's. It's more about, please come here.
Okay. So one thing that I love watching about the show is all of the different foreign places and words that you have to pronounce. And I imagine you practice reading them in the script over and over again. So what's your favorite location or thing to pronounce this year?
This year there aren't any major tongue twisters but when we were in Azerbaijan, even the word Azerbaijan, that was interesting. There was definitely some very interesting pronunciations. This season, nothing majorly complicated, but you're totally right about us having to work on the pronunciations, and we have big discussions. There are times where we'll go over a word for 10, 15 minutes because we will find 4 or 5 different pronunciations, and then we have to decide which one we're going to go for, because we try to Americanize it somewhat, meaning, not make it like we're putting on an accent of the, just making up some kind of accent, that we're actually saying it the way we would say it, but it's phonetically correct. And so there's a lot of discussion about exactly how we would say a word.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Americanizing. One last question that came from Vancouver. Amazing Race Canada is starting soon. Our Canadian friends will be watching that. Are you hosting that show? Give us the inside scoop. Do you know anything?
I am not hosting that show. I was asked to come to Canada to help promote it. Canadians are huge fans of The Amazing Race. They've been asking for years for their own version, or for at least to be able to compete on the American version of the race. So I'm very, very excited that they're going to be doing their own version. I've been helping them to promote it, and the host, we'll have to wait to see who that is.
All right, and we'll be watching on CBS, though, of course, in the meantime, The Amazing Race, Sunday nights, right?
Sunday nights, 8 o'clock. We're back, and we're bigger than ever.
Oh, we can't wait. Phil Keoghan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Today's best music with Jeremy Bradley.